This is Andy Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Sonny Edwards here in Nottingham. Sonny, it's good to see you. Straight into it, Dalton Smith, first round, explosive. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I thought he was punch perfect, to be honest. As well as you want it to go, really. Not really take a shot, put him down and stop him. Perfect.
When you support like that, and obviously Dalton, you can see his levels above Walid Uza. Is there much that he can take away from it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that kid wasn't no easy like pushover. The kid was bigger, the kid was strong, the kid throws a lot of punches. If you go to his averages on CompuBox, yeah, he throws 100 punches around that kid. He just didn't have the chance to. He was trying to walk in and put his pressure on, but every time he was getting there, Dalton was opening up the gap, and then as he was stepping, throwing a punch, and every time he made a mistake with a step-in shot, trying to find the target with his reach, Dalton was coming around it. It's something that we work on. Like, we don't mind at the Steel City Gym having a height disadvantage because we work on it so often. Yeah, and Dalton's a phenomenal fighter. He has been since I first seen him, with a rascal haircut at 12 years old, and he is now as a 28-year-old. He's had a great journey in the sport, and a great friend of mine. So yeah, it was an honour to still be called up to the corner.
Going down that WBC route, as he mentioned, the winner of Alberto Puella versus Sandor Martin, confident that Dalton has a beating over whoever wins that fight?
Yeah, I am very confident in Dalton's ability. I know people don't really give him the credit for his punch power, but I generally put him up there with like a Gervonta Davies when it comes to actually landing a clean, solid, like concussive shot. He actually has the ability to be able to be patient and not really do much in the first few rounds to really have a look at someone before walking them onto a shot, and then he's a very good finisher once he has them hurt. So yeah, I think he can. I saw the top 10 list, and yeah, there was a couple that people were saying that he might beat and whatnot, but I think he's well up there, to be honest. I think people see his patience sometimes as a negative when, a fighter's surviving and he's not just, going out wild, but he makes very few mistakes, Dalton. Very, very few mistakes. He doesn't often give them a chance of giving him a clean shot, and when he lands, it's often heavy.
I've seen a couple of people on social media mention Josh Taylor. Do you think there's interest there in the camp for a potential Josh Taylor fight? Obviously still a huge name, especially in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, especially if you can't get a world title shot. It's a Jack Catterall, it's Josh Taylor. It's a big domestic name. Really, is the big nights. They're the ones that everyone comes out for, that everyone gets behind. And look, Josh Taylor's a phenomenal fighter, someone that we all have a great deal of respect for, good relationships with as well. But if that fight's dead, then 100%. I don't know what Josh's plans are, how long he continues to go, and if it makes sense, and it makes sense. But I think definitely people would come out to watch Dalton Smith, Josh Taylor. That just seems like fireworks. Both of them can fight. Josh is very, very tough, very aggressive as well, southpaw. So yeah, I would love to see that fight. I don't know if it happens or not, but yeah.
Just quickly want to get your thoughts on a couple of other things before we wrap this up. Two of your past opponents, if they were to ever meet, what would you make of a Galia fight and Bam Rodriguez fight? Obviously Galia would have to come up in weight for that, but how would you rate his chances in doing so?
I do really rate Galia. I do, and I've rated him our whole storyline, and he knows that. Look, the version of me was clear that it wasn't the version of me that's been in the ring, but I don't know, Bam's special, man. Bam's very, very special, and obviously Galia beat me better in some ways, but if I had the same ref that I had in for Bam, when I fought Bam, I would have been stopped about 5-6 times, in my opinion. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I feel like I don't think I can pick anyone really at super flyweight against Bam. I think he's not only can he punch very hard, he's a very good boxer, and I think he'll find maybe hitting Galia clean a bit easier than what people are thinking. But Galia's very tough and very, very strong and very relentless. But I think in that fight, that might be his undoing. Like, against me, it was his strength, definitely. I couldn't really keep him off me, and I was just there trying to wait for him to get tired and then keep throwing back, and then the ref, stopped it when I was surprised that he did. But no, Galia's a terrific fighter, Olympic gold medalist. But yeah, I think Bam is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world.
I just want to get your thoughts on Eubank Jr. being announced now, April 26th. Do you have a favourite? Do you have a pick?
The same as before. I think I definitely favour Chris Eubank, more for the size though, more than anything else. Connor's a 147 fighter, started at 140, went up to 147 after a few fights, and could you imagine Chris Eubank Jr. ever being 147? Yeah, and now we're boxing at 160. He's coming up. He might carry a lot of power. He might carry a lot of weight. Chris might struggle for the weight a little bit. I'm not 100% sure because he's very professional and he lives the life and he's always in fantastic nick. Yeah, I just think the size in that. And, you know, I think if they both didn't have the rivalry that spanned from their parents, I don't think the fight would have ever even been mentioned, to be honest. But that said, with all the stakes on the line, I think it could make a very much more interesting fight than a lot of people are maybe giving it credit for. Because I do think it will, you know, explode quite early as well. And, you know, if Conor really carries some extra power, because he hasn't had to cut down to the weight. Like, I don't know how he does his weight. I don't know what he walks around at. So this might be perfect for him. I might be speaking completely ignorantly. But yeah, just, you know, the size of Chris Eubank and also maybe the top end that he's boxed at as well, and performed at. Even though he's lost a couple of the fights, but he's got a lot of experience where, you know, Conor he hasn't really fought. I don't want to say hasn't fought anyone because obviously he has, but I don't think he's fought anyone of the sort of danger that Chris Eubank has.
Last one from me, Sonny. Daniel Dubois, Joseph-Parker. I'm asking a few people this one. I want to get your thoughts on it. Do you have a favourite?
Yeah, like Dubois is looking absolute insane right now. He's found the form of his life and he's kind of matured in a way. But you know, Joseph-Parker is very wily, and if anything, he's better now, in my opinion, in the last couple of years than he was when he was world champion. So, you know, if anyone can maybe take away some of the strengths and keep fighting and keep tough in there, then Parker's, you know, as good of an opponent as any at heavyweight for Dubois. I do definitely heavily favour Dubois, but only probably because of his last few showings, really. If you gave it to me a few years ago, maybe just after the Lorena fight or after the Joe Joyce fight, I'm probably saying Joseph-Parker. And yeah, I think it's a very interesting one, definitely. And heavyweight boxing, it always is. One shot changes it all. But yeah, man, it's great times for British boxing.
Sonny, I appreciate your time as you called now, so thank you for speaking to me. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Nah, cheers, mate.